So I think I mentioned when I was beginning this area that despite the hole, I wasn't going to worry about light coming in, you know, through that hole in the roof, because I didn't want to get too much detail in here. It was important to keep this fairly simple. And then as the day, well, yeah, and then this morning I decided it could stand it, so I thought I'd try it. And really it was just because there was too much symmetry here, you know. Yeah, you had the 3 bars, they're a little off center, but not enough. I wanted to highlight this as well, to, you know, one small square and a larger one helps to add to the symmetry. And then catching just a bit of indirect light coming through the hole, you know, touching the wall, touching a stud. So did that, and then I got a comment this afternoon from Bob. You were reading my mind. He said, you know, you could put a little bit of because of the hole in the roof, you could have a little light shining through the hole and catching the upper right wall in the back. So that worked out. You read my mind, Bob. Good thinking. Well, okay. It's good thinking, not because you read my mind, because that's dangerous territory. You know what I mean. Alright, we'll move over a little bit. Oops, I need some cobalt blue on my palette. I have, sorry, getting the lid back on here. I have a very brown shadow here, and this shadow is very blue. So I'm going to lighten this shadow up a little bit. I don't think I'm going to change the angle. I'm not going to worry about it. But I do think it's just in general, again, standing back from it, it's fairly dark in appearance. I'd like a little more light on there. Something like that, maybe. Yeah, I'd say that's better. Okay, let's put a bit of this blue on here, for starters. So our colors are at least kind of more consistent. Dark line on the edge of my shadow too. I'm not overly fond of that. Ah, it's not so bad. A little bit wider. Small stuff. Small stuff, fun to do. Because you know you're at the end of the painting. Well, I didn't go much lighter, did I? Of course, that fence color is a little bit warm. So it's not the value that has to be so much lower. I'm just going to make sure I stay cold. Cooler colors. Okay, every stroke you put on there makes your area weaker. So I'll stop. It wasn't bad to start with. It's just a little better now, I think. I zero in, you know, I zoom the camera in quite a bit so you can see what I'm up to. But you seeing what you see enlarged on your computer screen, you need to be careful not to judge it accurately, because this has to be, it's an impressionist painting. It's designed to be judged and assessed from a distance. This was quite pointy and light. I wanted it to be rounded off a little more. Not quite as intense. I stuck just a few slightly higher value blues in here, just for a little variety. I know it's small. One of those many tiny things that I need to do in the finishing process. My step 6, as I call it. Well, you know, just a little bit of organizing I think is required here. And there are a few areas that I've didn't go very dark in, and I think I should have made them darker. So that's what I'm doing. This is just cobalt blue and burnt sienna and no white. Just to indicate a couple of areas that are going to be very dark, and that will help. Whoops. Give the appearance of just a little more shadow. I think it'll help. Doesn't need much. This whole tree only really needs a few strokes, but I do think that it's going to be beneficial to give it that, you know. So I'm going to go through with this dark stuff, and then once the dark stuff's in, I'm going to straighten out some of the light stuff. Fix it up, make it a little nicer, make it, you know, just sort of tidy it a little bit, I suppose would be the word. Yeah, it's dark, but I'm not doing this to make anything pop. I'm just trying to give it a little more design. Things are suggested here, but I need to clarify a few things, I think. And it's not even that important that I do that, you know, again, because it's Impressionism, and you want to allow the imagination of the viewer to be able to interpret things a little bit. Okay, a little more cobalt blue and burnt sienna. Okay, anyway, I'll finish the rest of this off camera. So this this area in here, most specifically where our line tapers off, yes, I'd like it to not be a line all the way through, because it joins, you know, it turns into a swale and joins this area back here. But this adjacent to the tree, pretty strong lines here, right? And that makes this appear to be a little bit flat. Now, like the tree, it doesn't need much. It just needs a few strokes in the right places. I'll probably lower the value along here a little bit without maintaining a line. There's this dark line. I'll just darken the value a little bit to increase the sense of separation from foreground to background, and also to help marry the texture of the tree to the texture of the grass in the foreground. I'll do that off camera because it's going to involve a lot of backing up, moving forward, and just a very few carefully thought out strokes. But you'll see the final result. Well, as you can see, I ended up with leaving a line there. It petered out almost to nothing here, but it's softened, it's toned down. I've darkened this quite a bit and made it very distinct now that this is, in front of this and in the shadows. I'm happy with that. It gives the feeling of a bit of roundness, That's not reflecting light like rocks are, but then grass is a soft object. It's not a hard object. It's not a reflective surface. So the only thing that remains in my thinking is possibly to cut through this line here. Maybe only one or two spots, just to lower the value, to introduce this to this a little more. I'm not even sure if it's necessary. I will decide that tomorrow. But we have a signature. So, you know what that means. Okay, anyway, I'm very happy. Tomorrow I will just, I'll between now and then, if I'm going to do something here, it'll be done. And then I'll scan the painting as usual. And we'll be done with this one and on to the next.